2024 Atlantic hurricane season isn't even here yet, but it is already shaping up to be one for the books, with more hurricanes and named storms predicted than ever before. The preseason forecast from Colorado State University is here, and it is a sobering one. They're forecasting 23 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 5 of which will become major hurricanes of Category 3 intensity or greater. Now, historically, from the early 90s to 2020, the Atlantic Basin sees about 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, with 3 of them being a major. Well, joining me now is Isaac Schluschi, a graduate research assistant at Colorado State University. He had a hand in that research you just saw that was used to come up with this forecast. So, Isaac, thank you so much for being here. Let's start off with this. If this forecast does come true, would this be considered a historic season? And what were some of the factors that your team came up with to make this prediction in the forecast?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, this is the highest April forecast we've issued since we began issuing outlooks in 1995. So it absolutely has the potential to be a historic season. Now, there were a couple of main factors that went into deciding how to issue this forecast. One of them is the extremely warm sea surface temperatures across much of the Atlantic Ocean. And so these sea surface temperatures act like fuel for the storms to build and grow. The other factor that we primarily considered is the transition to La Nina that is forecast to occur in the tropical Pacific. And so what this is a cooling of the sea surface temperatures in the equatorial Pacific. And this results in a reduction of wind shear across the Atlantic Basin. And this makes it a much more conducive environment for tropical cyclones to form.
Well, Isaac, I know it's hard to predict exactly where a storm will hit, but is there a specific area in the tropics where we could see more development this year?
Yeah, it's really difficult, as you said, at this lead time to pinpoint any exact locations. There is a little bit of a relationship between La Nina and increased hurricane activity west of about 60 degrees west, which is an area that we forecast in our outlook. And this correlates more strongly with landfalling storms in the continental United States. But beyond that, it's really quite difficult to pin anything down.
Okay, well, whether there's 23 named storms this year, all it takes is one storm, of course, as we know, to cause devastating and deadly impacts. How should people start preparing for June 1st, which is the official start of the season? Is there anything they can do right now?
Exactly. I mean, as you said, it only takes one storm for it to be a very active and impactful season for you and your community. So what we like to message here at this part of the season is essentially just that hurricane season is on its way, and now is the time to prepare, not panic. And so a couple of things you can do to prepare is review your hurricane action plan and make sure that you have all those details planned out ahead of hurricanes potentially threatening your area. One resource that we really recommend for this is ready.gov. Additionally, should storms threaten your area later in the season, it's important to have a way to receive warnings from the National Weather Service and also pay attention to your local emergency management.
Isaac, I know things are overall getting warmer. We've already heard the reports that this has been the hottest February we saw on record. And you were talking about the El Nino to La Nina pattern. Let me get that correct. Do you think, though, that because of this warming pattern that we may see it earlier, like in the summer? We usually see it kind of later August, September.
Yeah, it's an evolving question, certainly, how the warming climate will impact hurricane season. Right now, the trends we're noting is an actual global decrease in the number of tropical cyclones. However, we are seeing some tropical cyclones become more intense. I don't really think there's too much of a trend as to the season beginning earlier at this point, but that's certainly something that could occur in the future.
Okay, Isaac Schluschi, graduate research assistant at Colorado State University. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, ahead